Hi, it's Paula from Paula Quilting. Welcome back to my channel. Another magic tutorial today, and we are going to be using 4.5-inch squares. So if you have a bunch of those, that's the tutorial. You may like to consider to use them up. So this is what you need: 2 pieces of your main fabric, 2 pieces of something contrasting, and 2 pieces of the background fabric, all 4.5 inches. I've made myself here few of those kind of sets, and I'll be working through those, but just for the tutorial I will show you one. So this is my main color. I will leave it as is, and my background fabric will stay as is as well, but my contrast fabrics I want to trim to 3.5 inches. Obviously all of those scraps can either go to my cramp or they can go to my adding tape bucket. They're quite nice for that as well, so they will fit in there. The first things first, I will just draw the line on the back of my fabric here on diagonal. And if you don't like eyeballing lines, you want to draw another line which will be about 1/2 inch below that first one. If you're kind of okay with the eyeballing, then you wouldn't need to draw it. We will just sew it as they are. So, but let's for this exercise do both of the lines, and I will repeat it on my other square. You want to take your main color fabric, and we will be snowballing one of the corners of that block. So I will first stitch on that first line, and then I will repeat the stitching on the second line I've done, and we'll cut in between to create one block which will be snowballed like this, and then we'll have a half square triangle on the other side we will use in the next step. So I will do that on both of those squares, and then I will show you the next step. So for that part of the process you want to put just normal foot, not the quarter one. It's just easier when you're snowballing using normal foot. And as mentioned, I'm just gonna sew both ways here on those lines I drew. And I do want to chain piece here as much as I can as well, so I'll just put straight away the second one. Now I can turn around the stack and just carry on stitching. Obviously if you prepare yourself a stack of those blocks or the squares for the blocks, you can chain piece all of it in one go. That will speed up a lot of that work on this block. Okay, so that first step is done, and I will just cut in between and cut into half in between those stitched lines. I'm not measuring here, I'm just eyeballing that middle, but again, if you want to be more precise, you can take it to the obviously your cutting board and use the rotary cutter and the ruler, but that works fine as well. So I will take all of those parts to the iron and iron them nice and flat. With ironing half square triangles and those snowballs, it's good to finger press before you put iron to not kind of distort the shapes. These ones we will be trimming, so even if you kind of not exact on those ones, it's fine. So let me quickly do that and we'll go to the next step. So here are my ironed pieces, my first part, and those small half square triangles, and I will actually trim them to 2.5 inches. I was trying using them without doing that, but it wasn't that great, so unfortunately we need to trim them to you know, to make the work a little bit more precise. I'm all for not being that perfect, but sometimes you need to prepare yourself better. So here we go. You should just about to trim them to 2.5 inches. If they are not big enough, just do 2.25. That will be fine as well. If you have some maybe that kind of you sewn that other line too close, you may miss 2.5 inch. So just do them 2.25. That will be fine as well. So there's not a lot of waste from that block. As you can see, we'll use all of those pieces in the project. You go. So Now I want to draw again a line on those two, because we'll be snowballing that block again using those parts. So on diagonal, to go through both of those colors, I will draw myself a line. And I will be placing those to snowball again that contrasting fabric. The only thing you need to remember here, that when you put your those half square triangles, you want to go on in different direction or opposite direction. So this one has that brown color down, so on this one the brown color will go up. Just need to go in the opposite direction. And then I will stitch on the line, cut off my triangles. For the triangles, again, there's a tutorial I've published how to use the map, so I will link it in the description below. So really, if you use the other parts on adding tape, this parts on the other tape tutorial, I will link both of them in the description below. You have zero waste on this block, but obviously you're not necessarily using it everything here. So let's quickly stitch it, open it up, and then we'll be ready to mix it with our background fabric. So just to make sure that those small squares are placed in the opposite directions like I've mentioned. So I've got them both here so I can see how I'm stitching them. If you have been working on more than one block at the time, you can obviously chain piece that part as well. So I'll just trim that off about 1/4 inch from the edge. So that will go to my other bucket with the scraps. And then I will open it up, iron, and we'll be ready to link it with the background fabric. Before I show you my finished project, just a quick reminder where you can find me and how you can support my work. You can subscribe to my website to be notified when new tutorials, products or patterns are released. You can find me on my Facebook page, Pola Photo, or you can join my group page, Pola Quilting with Friends, where we all share work made inspired by my tutorials and answer any questions you may have. There is Instagram account called Pola Quilting, and if you like to share something you made based on my tutorials, please tag me using hashtag Pola Quilting with Friends. To support my work, please like, comment and share when you see my posts or tutorials. Let your quilting friends know about this channel and invite them to the group and subscribe to my channel. If you like to contribute extra, you can use super thanks on YouTube or buying me virtual tea, coffee or lunch available on my page. All links are in the description below. I would like to thank you all for all the support so far and letting me grow in what I do. Just to let you know, there is now another incentive to join my newsletter. So back in November, as you remember, I was one of the presenters on the Scrappy Summit, which was a great success. A lot of people happy with joining us. So I decided to make my own presentation available to those who join my newsletter. So once you confirm your subscription, you will receive document with a link to my presentation. Be sure to save the document for future reference. And if you already joined my newsletter, a link to the presentation will be included in the next few newsletters, so you will have access to it as well. Okay, so I've got my background fabric and I've got my half square triangles with the half square triangles, double half square triangles, and this is how I'm gonna stitch them together. And now you have just a simple 4-patch to put together, nothing complicated here. I will just quickly change my foot to my 1/4 foot here, because we want to use the 1/4 inch seam. And I'll just sew it as a normal 4-patch going from the top here. On that block where we were snowballing twice, which way the seams are going is irrelevant, because they are not going to link with anything else that needs to nest. And voila, the block is done. So just to iron it, and I will make a few more and we'll pop it on the design board and see what kind of options we've got there to kind of design with those blocks. So here are some of the blocks I finished. As you saw, they are very quick and easy to make. I will pop them in on the design board so you can see what we can make out of those blocks. I would like to thank Nikki and Joanne on my Facebook group page for providing a title for those blocks, and I call them linking bridges. It's getting more and more difficult to name the blocks. Every now and then I reach out to my group members to support me in that job. So as you can see, those blocks can be easily mixed up with some other blocks, either crumps or solids. Lots of combinations there, very quick and easy blocks to make. So if you have you've got something in your buckets which is 8.5 inch already, you can mix it up as well with those. Just make some scrappy quilt using your own blocks already. They are in 8.5 inches. Recently I've recorded video about how to cut the fat quarter to add to your magic numbers, because sometimes we've got some fat quarters we do not necessarily like that much. Either we have been given something, or we didn't know what we were thinking when we were buying it. It happens to the best. Happened to me too. So once you cut them out, put in your magic numbers and you mix them up with something else from your scrappy buckets, they really kind of change how they look, and they look very good. So I will put all the links for the things I've mentioned in this tutorial in the description, so have a look there, and I hope you come back for more magic numbers and other designs. Thank you very much for joining me today. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Please share this tutorial and this channel with your sewing friends, because that's the best way you can support my work. Thank you very much and see you next time. Thank you for watching. I hope you will share this tutorial. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Happy sewing and see you next time.